Hello, everybody. You are listening to Bass Tunes on KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. I'm your host, Arian Salimi, and if you might not have been able to tell, we're talking about System of a Down's Toxicity with a layman. So wait. Well, that'll be all for the sound portion of this, as it's a big album. We got my friend Nima here. He is KUCI in training. He should have his own show next quarter, and he's interning. So, welcome to the show, Nima.
Hi, Arian. I'm going to be having a show next quarter. It's going to be a film show, but I'm here on Arian's show. He's a good friend. We've known each other for probably 15 years.
Yeah. Moved states together, too. It's kind of crazy.
Definitely. And I'm going to be here giving my Layman'S review of I Thought a Good Album.
You thought it was good. Well, that's a good thing to hear. I can talk a little bit about System of a Down as a band before we actually get into it. Let me just go ahead and pull my little writings about there, my little writings and recordings. You know how we do. Well, they're an alternative metal band, Armenian-American, which is a sort of big part of them as a culture. I mean, them as a band, but they never really made it a big deal. They were always like, it doesn't really matter. We're just four dudes who like playing music. But they both sort of grew up in the similar areas. Went to, I guess, in the Armenian community in Los Angeles, California. They were formed in 1994. We got four members, right? Four band members. We got Serge Tankian for the lead vocals. And if I butcher any of these names, I apologize, all right? Darren, Shavo, and John. Darren is the guitarist. Shavo is the bassist. And John is the drummer. Originally formed as a band called Soil with a few of the members. They disbanded, and originally we're gonna be called Victims of a Down because Darren, the guitarist slash backup singer, you can hear his voice on a lot of the songs. He's the high pitched voice. That's Darren, and he written that. But they thought, oh, System of a Down would be a cooler name. More people would get it. More people would be appealed by it. And one of their favorite bands was actually Slayer. You know, Raining Blood. That album, or Rain in Blood, and the song Raining Blood. I only know that one because of Guitar Hero. And you know what else? I only know System of a Down because of Rock Band and Guitar Hero. So I want to give a quick shout out to the developers of those two games because they got me into so much stuff. I believe that was the first time I heard of it. I remember we used to play Rock Band 2 a lot.
Yeah,
Not
we
a lot.
did.
Your cousin Zach, he used to have, he had all the stuff. And I used to be super obsessed with it. I bought my own stuff. I think my parents got rid of most of it, so I have basically nothing. I had to go to Goodwill and pick up a guitar for like $5, and I just play it solo on my computer every so often. But I think the song Chop Suey was a big one, and that's probably their biggest song, and it is on Toxicity, which I believe is also their biggest selling. It's their second studio album. Their debut came out in 1998. Toxicity came out on, I believe, September 4th, 2001, and in spite of the 9/11 attacks, it still ended up debuting number one on the Billboard 200. So it was still a smash success, even though, a lot of artists, bands, albums around that time were just not handling well. Labels were sort of kicking them off or shelving them just because, well, people didn't really want to have to, people didn't really want to go and buy stuff. Everybody was scared. So what do you think of the album?
I liked it a lot. I'm not too, the last album I listened to was J.S. Bach and 1700s. I don't listen to the stuff as much, but I enjoyed it a lot. I thought my favorite song was probably the, I don't know what you call it, the namesake song.
Self-titled, the name's, Toxicity.
Yeah, that.
You thought that one was your favorite? That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I liked that one. I liked... it was one of the first ones on Spotify. The few beginning songs of the album I liked a lot.
The first few. Do you remember what it sounded like?
I just liked all kind of the first three songs a lot.
My favorite one is actually the second song, Needles, which
Yeah, I think that one I liked a lot too.
Yeah, I'll just let it. You'll understand why I like it once I hit it. It'll get there. I like it because it's the perfect mix of serious and goofy, but also because the riff. Alright. Sorry, I'm literally headbanging in the studio right now. I love alternative metal. It's literally my favorite genre of basically all time right now. So I was curious because, from us growing up together, I really never thought that hey, this guy would really be into any of the stuff I like musically, You're sort of an enigma. Same thing with sort of films, although you started that YouTube channel and now I'm a little bit, you're all artsy, like, oh, I like the Citizen Kane and Dark Knight Rises. And Dark Knight Rises I saw with this kid, and I wanted to walk out of it. I never did. There's only one movie I ever walked out. I even made fun of me for it.
That was crazy. We saw that in theaters. We were a bit young, but you walked out, and
did I actually walk out?
I don't. It was kind of embarrassing, I think, at the time for me, but it was. I liked the movie. I just watched yesterday Dark Knight, which is the second film everybody knows. Dark Knight.
Yeah, the original one with the Joker, not the original one. Yeah, the one with the Joker.
I'm actually not too much of a pretentious film lover. I'm more just like anything that makes you happy and is done well. It doesn't have to be high-minded for me.
True, that's actually true. I was just sort of I was pulling your leg a little bit there with the high-minded artsy stuff. Yeah, can't believe you're actually embarrassed by that, because I straight up thought there's only one movie I walked out of, and it was The Amazing Spider-Man 2, because I precisely remember, and you weren't. Wow. I didn't watch it with you. I watched it with my dad. I straight up walked out of the theater. I couldn't. I was so bored. I was so bored. Well, but there's no, if you like that movie, obviously we got no hate in our hearts. We love everything, but I don't like some stuff. I'm generally pretty agreeable though. But yeah, back to the album. In terms of like the alternative metal stuff, I've spent a lot of time over the past like summer and like to now. A lot of the stuff that I've even been covering on the show has basically just been alternative metal stuff, new metal. And we can talk about new metal real quick. People sort of group System of a Down in there as like one of the few good new metal bands, along with the Deftones, my favorite band. I'm literally wearing a shirt by them right now. I love their music. But I feel like they never... The weird thing about the whole new metal thing is, I don't know how much of it you've heard. I know that I've recommended Zach to listen to that gross-looking album cover, Chocolate Starfish, whatever. I don't know if... Do you look at his stories for his like album review things on Snapchat?
I do every once in a while. He's very intellectually minded. He's sort of like I hear him say stuff like, "Oh, it's not sufficiently avant-garde for me." It's like I don't know what this guy's talking about.
He's Nima's little cousin, and like him, we all sort of grew up together, like him and his cousins. It's like a sort of surrogate family for me, because like I ain't got no family out here.
Yeah, Arian is an orphan.
No. I just don't have any I just have my mom and my dad. The rest of them are in Iran, dude. And like one cousin. I ain't no orphan, dude. Although, if you are, respect, right?
Yeah, respect. We love you.
God, I sound like Ali G right now. Oh, wait. I sound like Ali G right now, man. Respect. Do you like Ali G? I never realized.
I do like Ali G, but I'm more familiar with other Sacha Baron Cohen outings, but what I've seen is pretty funny.
Yeah, I actually sat down and watched all of it. It was great. But man, alternative metal, I guess the one thing that I could say that really sort of ties alt metal together in a lot of ways is sort of, at least for new metal, is down-tuned riffs. Like the guitars are tuned lower than standard tuning. They sound lower. They sound rougher. You know what I mean? No solos. I don't recall there being any solos on Toxicity. I might not have heard one, but I don't recall there being a classical guitar solo, and a really big emphasis on rhythm more than, I suppose, maybe not melody, but I guess it's sort of the eschewing of solos. Like, I'll give you some background on it. This sort of music, maybe not these guys specifically, but they all sort of came up around the same area, northern, like mid southern California in the 90s. But they were influenced by groove metal and post-hardcore, like these bands that were pretty heavy with down tuning, but were more focused on having a bit of a groove, a bit more funk elements into it. We got like early Red Hot Chili Peppers, you got Pantera, you got Helmet, and all these names are like passing by you, going in one ear and out the other because you listen to your Bach. You are a pretty big classical fan, aren't you?
Yeah, I do like classical music, but I'll be honest, just in general, my music taste is whatever is catchy to me. It's not too like smart. I just like any tunes that I find kind of
you're
catchy.
On the show about tunes, so it makes sense, right? Do you have a favorite song? I know we're not really talking about Toxicity that much, but like I haven't had an actual music conversation with this dude in like ever, and I am curious about that.
Wow, that's really difficult. Would you mind if I looked at my list and just give me
Do
a
you have like
minute.
do you curate a list of like your favorite songs?
No, I just have a Spotify.
Oh,
Just
fair
look,
enough. Yeah,
just
scroll through that.
look through it.
I'll jabber a little bit more about Toxicity. I think one of the main reasons why I wanted to talk about this album with you, because I'll explain. I essentially had two ideas. I was like, yo, I've been listening to self-titled Deftones album, the one that came out in 2003, religiously for like the past week, and it's great. It's amazing. All right, people consider it one of their weaker outings, but it's super heavy. It's super just dark. It is dealing with a lot of personal topics, more so than a lot of their other music, where a lot of the lyrics are very esoteric, but has this mix of some of their most, well, I wouldn't say it's all mostly just pretty stuff. It's all very heavy, but it sinks you in. It's a pretty depressing experience, but it just sounds good. But then I thought, hey, Toxicity, people know that one, and there are some pretty strong political messages in Toxicity. And I don't know if you read the lyrics when you were listening to it or even paid attention to them, but if you did, I wanted to know your thoughts on like what they were saying. I'm not saying like, do you agree with this stuff or whatever, because it doesn't really matter. But like, do you think they had a good message? If you pay attention to it. If not, I'm looking at the lyrics right now. I can pull some.
Just remind me of it, because I remember it had to do with like some war, I think.
Okay, so the first song is Prison Song, right? And they're basically talking about after civil rights, I suppose, like sort of Iran-Contras era. Following the rights movement, you clamped down with your iron fists. Drugs became conveniently available for all the kids. I buy my C, I smack my B right here in Hollywood. Nearly 2 million Americans are incarcerated in the prison system of the U.S. They're trying to build a prison for you to me and live in. And it's like talking about how the war on drugs, Reagan-era stuff, minor drug offenders are soaking up the prisons, all our taxes paying for your wars against the new and rich. It's like the usual sort of stuff. And ironically, when I hear about this album, I always think about like war on terror stuff, like George W. Bush type stuff, that sort of era of United States history and politics. But it's just funny to me, this album came out before, like a week before the war on terror really started. Well, war on terror, I don't know when I don't know what the exact date was, but it had to be around September, October 2001, after the attacks. I don't recall correctly. But the bridge is pretty funny. Well, it's only funny because he's screaming this out in a very high sort of goofy way. All research and successful drug policy shows that treatment should be increased and law enforcement decreased while abolishing mandatory minimum sentences. It's just a funny idea for like this heavy riffing song, and then he just starts screaming like this political rhetoric on the air, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'll look through the other ones. Needles is about going through an addiction, I believe, and sort of detoxing. And again, it's what I like about the band, and I don't know if you really noticed this or like pay attention to it, but I feel like they have this really good mix of being serious in terms of their tone and their riffs and their heaviness, but they do these like goofy lyrics, they do these goofy vocal deliveries, and they sort of have a bit of a cynical, sarcastic air to a lot of the music and like the topics. It's like the chorus of Needles, my favorite one, is pull the tapeworm out of your A. Hey. But like the whole song is really sad, and it's about like dealing with addiction, like this really dark topic. But he says that in the chorus.
Right, I think comedy's like the best way to deal with taboo or painful subject matter, definitely.
I'd say that was a good look of it. I'd say that's a good one. Again, you got one about police brutality against protesters with was it Deer Dance, the pushing little children with their like a lot of their lyrics end up sort of being about this sort of stuff. One of their biggest songs, BYOB, we might have played that one it was on a Guitar Hero game, but I don't recall. I ended up playing it a lot myself because of how hard it was. But it was just a lot of, and obviously that one came out in 2005, so that's like well deep into the whole war on terror sort of like that era of American policy. But then there's just stuff like, and the next song is Jet Pile, where people don't really know what it's going about. And a lot of the lyrics are open to interpretation. And obviously the lyrics aren't the biggest part of it, right? But again, I'm just looking at it. We have stuff like Armenian genocide. A lot of things like that. and then Chop Suey. What is it even? That's the big one, right? The wake up, grab a brush, and put on a little makeup. And obviously, you remember the chorus. Do you like the singer? Do you like the lead vocals?
I did a lot. I like I don't know who it was, but I think one of the guys sort of goes like high and then goes low, and there's sort of a lot of contrast, especially in the Toxicity song, which was my favorite. I like there was a lot of contrast in the.
Yeah, that's Serge. That's the main guy.
Okay.
If he has like that sort of ringing baritone voice and not the super high pitched tenor like on Needles, it's
Right.
the I'm sitting in my room. That's Darren, and he normally doesn't really have a solo part like that on the album. It's mostly him sort of harmonizing. What do you think about the heavy stuff, like the screaming and all that stuff? Was it hard for you to listen to at all? I don't know what you're like listening to a lot. I know I'm a big fan of all this sort of heavy yelling stuff.
All right, yeah, I'll answer this and then I'll give you a few of the songs I got from my Spotify that I like a lot.
Sure thing.
So I think like 9 out of 10 of the like screaming parts were fine by me. I think there was like sometimes I thought it was a little gratuitous at times, like, but in general, I was surprisingly into the album, even though I don't usually listen to that sort of stuff too much. I thought it was pretty good. But like a few of the songs I like from my Spotify is I don't really have a favorite song, but I've picked out a few I really like. I like
Sure thing.
Heart of Stone. It's Rolling Stones.
Classic rock.
House of the Rising Sun.
I like that
a
one.
lot.
The Animals one, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah,
of course.
my friend told me that the jazz artist Leadbelly actually was the first one to sort of put that on tape as an American folk song, him doing a recording of it. And you might know him if you're listening because he was the guy who originally sung Where Did You Sleep Last Night, which Nirvana ended up covering.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've heard that, but it's like one of the best live performances I've ever heard. It's mostly just an acoustic guitar and a cello, but it's just Kurt Cobain just screaming towards the end of it. And like it's really powerful. My God! I can't do it. One, because I'm not warmed up, and two, I ain't Kurt Cobain. Listen, I'm proud of my singing voice sometimes, but I'm not no Kurt Cobain. I'll say that.
I like to think I'm a young Frank Sinatra.
I have never heard you sing a day in my life. I was the kid who did choir. What did you do? You played like the piano, right?
I'm better at humming than anybody in the world. I bet that. And I did play piano technically, but I would never practice. I would just like try to get by on lessons alone. It's like not doing your homework basically.
Which I don't do.
Yeah. So that was
yeah. Were you in orchestra in high school? Like, were you in orchestra in high school? I know you were. When you were
I did. Okay, I did 1 year of trumpet.
I did trumpet.
Yeah, but I did it in middle school and then I stopped and I declined at a rapid pace and as like I scared away all the girls and that's why no girls will talk to me. That's why I'm getting the show. Because I hear the
hey, there's other reasons to get a show. Don't be Fred Durst, okay? Don't do it for the nookie. Don't do it for the nookie, okay? Listen. There are a lot of things that you can do in life that people might assume you're doing for the nookie. Don't do them, all right? Listen, you got to have it's the same thing about like people talking about how they go to the gym, but they're doing it for the approval of others.
Right.
And listen, everybody kind of does that. Everybody's I call it the Durstian philosophy. I've told my friends about this a lot. And Durstian is Fred Durst, and Fred Durst is the lead singer of Limp Bizkit, which is like. See, if you thought System of a Down was like artsy and like fun, you put on the Biscuit, dude. Zach listened to it. I forced Zach to listen to it. He liked it more than I thought.
I love how like you're acting like Zach is on the air with us.
Well, I haven't talked to him in a bit, and I'd like to talk to him. And he's like the more out of you and him, he's the one I assume is more musically.
Oh yeah,
enthused.
Definitely. Well, we actually have a call in from Zach. He's coming in on
No,
live cam right now.
Nah, dude. Yeah, we don't got no call-ins. We can't call in, but we're not having any call-ins today, folks.
We pay by the minute here. It's rough.
No, sir. Yeah, Toxicity, man. There's some other good. I feel like Toxicity is regarded as their best album as a cohesive whole, but I kind of like some of the songs on their self-titled more. I I don't know why. I think it's just heavier, and I like that about it. It's more crazy. There's more, like, I don't think I'll play it on air, but like, there's this like the end of the song suggestions after this, just this massive like booming heavy guitar breakdown. Oh, really? That's cool. Sorry, I just got a text. He just goes like he does this really high pitched yelpy voice that I can't even try to do. And that's the other thing I don't get about Surge. Okay, I don't get how he does this. If you've heard him live, he never screams like that anymore. One, because it probably wrecks his vocal cords, and two, it turns out he's actually learned how to sing properly, much more powerfully. And they don't really do that much live. I think they're playing Sick New World in Las Vegas in a couple months, which I think I have tickets for, but I don't know if I'm going to go because I don't have anyone to go with, at least for the time being. Oh, my. I don't think I have anyone for tickets for, and, like, listen, going all the way to Vegas, like, wow. But we got Death Grips doing that. System of a Down's coming back live. They got Korn. I think Slipknot's back. It's like all my favorite bands. Oh, of course, the Tones. Everybody but the Biscuit. I read a comment saying that they chose not to invite the Biscuit. And I'm telling you guys, I love everybody who puts together these festivals. But come on. Let me limp with the Biscuit. Like, just let me do it, okay? I want to listen to some crazy guitar riffs while listening to a Looney Tunes character just start yelping about how much everybody hates him, all right? But no, yeah, we got ourselves, man, Toxicity. What was did we say the third, did you say the third song?
Did we go over it?
I don't think we did, because you said, we're not talking about the album, we're talking about your three songs that you picked, because I know you did Something by Rolling Stones, House of the Rising Sun, and I think we got sidetracked.
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna give, like, a classical song I like from...
You know, it's a classical song that I've actually gotten really into, and it's for an odd reason that I have in my likes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking through right now. It's a couple things from Swan Lake, but specifically the Dance of the Little Swans. I actually forgot the actual like original name of it in terms of its original language.
Fun fact, I actually saw Swan Lake in St. Petersburg like 5 years ago.
How was that?
It was really cool. I missed like 20 minutes of it because I fell asleep. Not because it was boring, it was just because I was really exhausted, but it was really cool.
I've never been to Russia.
It's an interesting country.
It's going to be a while before I'll be able to go, probably. But, like, what season did you go in? Was it cold?
It was during the winter, and it was super gloomy, but I like kind of that sort of weather, so it wasn't a drag on me. But I think other people were a little upset about it.
I mean, we both grew up in Minnesota, so I feel like we're both a little bit cold resistant, although I will say, personally, I've lost a lot of it over the years. Part of that might be I was a chubby kid. Now I'm not as chubby of a kid. Actually, you know what? No, I was a skinny kid when I lived in Minnesota. Once I moved here, when I was like 7 or 8, that's when all the chicken McNuggets eating really started getting to me.
Yeah, I've been like becoming a fat kid in the past year. I've gained weight at a rapid exponential
The
pace.
freshman 15. Wait, did you actually get the freshman 15, dude?
I don't know what that is, but
okay. Well, the freshman 15 is like a common colloquial term where it's like the after your first year, during your first year of college, you gain like 15 pounds.
no, just very serious depression and overeating. No, I'm
Yo,
just kidding.
let's get it. Shout out. Shout out. No, I had that too last year. But you know what I did? I underate. You know how we do.
Oh yeah, I know all about that. But you know, the Whopper has quickly become my best friend.
You're trolling me, aren't you, dude? God, you're trolling me, man.
No, I haven't had a Whopper. I like a quarter pounder with cheese.
You're a McDonald's guy? I haven't even eaten McDonald's enough in a minute, dude. I used to eat I would just get the McNugs. Honestly, when I was a kid, it's like all I'd eat.
Same.
But honestly, like sometimes I gotta go there and get some nugs. I ain't gonna lie to you, dude. Sometimes them nugs, they hit. They still make the best fries out of any fast food establishment, in my opinion.
I agree. I love them.
You're not the type of guy. You're not gonna be a contrarian and say there's other fries that are better than the McDonald's fries.
Like,
you know what I wish I got to grow up in? When they used to fry them in the beef fat.
oh yeah, they stopped, huh? Because it was like killing a bunch of people with how unhealthy it was.
probably also so vegetarians could like actually eat their food.
Oh yeah, true, right.
Yeah, yeah, that's another reason. You ever read Fast Food Nation?
No.
You ever watch Super Size Me?
Yeah,
I like that movie.
it is good.
I used to read not Super Size Me. I used to read Fast Food Nation when I was on planes and stuff. It's this really interesting book about the sort of like how fast food got started, and of course, it's all very early 2000s fast food. You know, this is before supersizing got like removed. Like I remember the whole supersizing. I was like, what? I wish I could have supersized my food, dude. If supersizing existed, I wouldn't be here today. I'm gonna be real with you, because I would have been eating like 500 nugs, 3 billion fries.
Sounds good.
Yeah, exactly.
This is devolving quickly.
Not sponsored, by the way.
Yeah.
We ain't sponsored. The only sponsor is me, the Bass Tunes philosophy, and the Durstian philosophy. But no, I think we're gonna cut short in a little bit. We gotta get ready for the next guest. But I will say this: it's been good having you on, and you know, if you want to check out my stuff on Instagram, you can. It is BasedTunesKuci on Instagram. Now, I'm not sure when my friend here is going to get a show, but if he does, I will make sure to shout it out if anybody wants to tune in. Of course, you know, I'll be real with you. When I originally heard you talking about KUCI, I was low-key thinking that you were going to steal my swag. I'm not going to lie to you, because I was like, this guy's gonna do the show better than me. But he's the film guy. I'm the music guy. I think it'll be fine. I barely watch movies. You barely really. I'm not saying you barely listen to music, but you're probably not much of an enthusiast as me. You don't have any vinyl records, do you?
No, dude, I cannot really. I could never do a music show. I'm definitely not the competition for you.
Hey, that's all I need to say. That's all I need to hear. Stroke my ego a little bit, dude. But yeah, shout out to Nima. And I just realized if Zach's listening right now, it's gonna be his birthday tomorrow. My dad texted me.
Yeah. It is.
So happy birthday if you're listening, dude. You know, hope you don't mind us talking about you, but it's all in love and respect, because I appreciate you. I appreciate your music taste, and everybody else listening to the show right now. I appreciate you a ton. Next week, we got ourselves a banger. I have talked so much positive stuff about music in the past like year or whatever I've been doing this show. That's about to change next week. We're going to be talking about a bad album. And if you've heard it, Metallica's Saint Anger, the snare, the secret snare, the one that sounds like you're smacking a tin can, you are going to hear that. And you know what? I'm probably going to play that tin can snare live on air. So if you're driving or if you're on the internet listening to this show, you'll hear the clank, the pong of a snare, and you're going to enjoy it. Or else. No. Again, follow me on Instagram, BasedTunesKuci. I am Arian Salimi. My host was Nima, my guest. This was Bass Tunes on KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. Tune in next week, same time, same bass channel. Keep on rolling, baby. Happy Fred Durst Friday. Keep on rolling. And don't do everything for the nookie. Thank you.